All right, chat, are we ready? Now, this one's 25 minutes, so there is a possibility that this may take us to the end of stream. Be warned, depending on how much input I'm going to have on this. So, this could be our last one for the night. So, chat, let's find out about what's been going on with the P320, the Air Force, and I'm thinking he's going to cover the police dropping it as well. So let's go.
The United States military may be dropping Sig from being its primary pistol manufacturer, as it has now become impossible to ignore the issues with Sig's firearm, the P320. Now, since its debut, there's been a lot of scuttlebutt about it randomly going off when you drop it, or going off randomly when you do nothing. And although there's been video proof of it, Sig has been standing its ground saying, I don't know what you're talking about, and carrying on with business as usual. But just this past week, an airman was shot and unfortunately died from his wounds when he placed his duty weapon, the Sig P320, on a desk, and it fired, fatally wounding him. And it's...
God, that is just... God, that's horrific. Just putting it down on the desk, and it shoots him. Oh... We're gonna get into the rage. We're gonna get into the jokes. But everyone, let's before we dive ankle deep into this one, let's take a moment. Okay, let's take a moment for the airman who lost his life in this way, and just give this airman a moment of respect. In, with everything that happened. Okay. I wanted to, because we're probably going to be raging and laughing throughout this whole video, but I wanted to take a moment of respect for that airman who is no longer with us because of this.
It's gotten so bad that the Air Force even put out an official memo saying that nobody's to carry the Sig P320, also known as the M17 or M18, until further notice. So today we're...
Wait, hang on. Wing commanders and DFCs will arm personnel with the M4 in place of the M18. So they're taking away the pistols and they're giving them rifles. I approve of this. I approve of this.
Also known as the M17 or M18, until further notice. So today we're going to talk about the history of Sig getting the Army's contract, and well, all of the Department of Defense's contracting for this sidearm, the issues that many
Something
people
like that,
brought
Cortinus,
up,
yeah.
Sig's response, and then this unfortunate occurrence that resulted in the death of an airman. But first, a word from this video's sponsor.
At time.
Aura. There's companies out there in the internet known as data brokers, and they sell your data. Selling it to marketers or scammers or stalkers or foreign government.
Side tangent. I'm gonna say, AC, you should learn from Nick. Your ad breaks for Aura might go harder if you can do some really cool skit like Nick does with Delete Me. I know you don't want to bring your girlfriend on camera. I respect that. No, Reaper. He doesn't want to have his girlfriend on. I don't think the Meredith thinks it's his girlfriend. Doesn't want to bring her on camera. I respect that. But I think you might get a little bit better traction on Aura if you do some funny skits like Nick does. I'm just saying.
And while they're legally required to remove your data when you ask, boy, do they make it difficult. That's why I recommend today's sponsor, Aura, to my family and friends. Heck, I use it. Aura is all-in-one digital security. Because they're going to give you
I
alerts
think it is,
when your personal
J10.
data is found on the dark web. Real-time fraud alerts for credit cards and banking. 24/7 monitoring to keep your identity secure. A secure VPN, antivirus software, and password manager, plus more. And it's got US-based support available around the clock should anything happen. And if anything happens, Aura includes $5 million worth of identity theft protection, with US fraud experts ready to help 24/7. Try Aura for 14 days for free at aura.com/angrycop, and check out the link in the description below.
Yeah, Balmage, I think so.
Let's start at the beginning. U.S. military wanted a new sidearm to replace the M9. This bad guy here. Made by
The Beretta.
Something I carried overseas, and frankly, I loved so much, I had to buy my own. But who is in the running for this? Well, Sig, Glock, and Beretta were the main top players in this.
No
and
surprise
Beretta
there.
had an updated version of their fantastic M9A1, one that had a mount for an optic, that had a little rail system on the bottom, so that way you could put a light on it when you're clearing rooms.
Nice.
One of the reasons the M9 was able to stick around for such a long time is because it's durable, and the Army certainly loves a safety on its pistols.
Yep.
Now, the Beretta is double action. Check that out. So when you fire off the first round, the trigger squeeze is a little rough because you're pulling the hammer back. But bam, after that first round goes off, the slide keeps that hammer in the rear lock position. Now, pretend...
Okay. That slight mischaracterization there. It's... The Beretta is double single. I believe the correct classification is it is a double single, it's DASA, not DA only. So that's if it was double action, that means that it's double action only, and every trigger pull would have to pull the hammer back. This is double single, and the decock, it's with decocker, which would mean safety. The decocker on the Beretta is the actual safety, which facilitates it. Whereas like on SIGs that don't have a safety and are double single, they actually have an actual decocking lever. So I don't mean to anime girl explain to AC, but it's a definition that needs to be done there, because when you say something is double action, it's a double action pistol, it implies that it's double action only when it's actually DASA, double action, single action.
And you're a private in the Army who hasn't really handled a pistol that much before, especially a Beretta M9. Well, you take that selector switch after firing some rounds and you put it on safe, and you're going to have a mild heart attack. Because you better be ready for that hammer to go forward. Oh, send shivers up my spine thinking about the several times that I first tried that. Now, why is that important? Well, the safety rolls over the firing pin, and even though the hammer goes forward, it won't fire, which is an important thing when making a firearm for the military or anybody else, that it doesn't go off accidentally. Message. And of course we...
Okay, side question. How many of you in chat that love the Beretta, because I'm a fan of the Beretta 92F. I am a fan of it. It is a classic pistol. How many of you first became fans of the Beretta for one specific reason that I'm about to say? Lethal Weapon. How many of you were first introduced and became fans of the Beretta because of Lethal Weapon? Lethal Weapon 1, when the chopper comes in and Riggs just fucking unloads 2 full mags rapid fire at the retreating helicopter. Oh God, that was a great scene. The Beretta was a staple for Riggs, and I bet that's how a lot of people were first introduced to it and love it.
We've got Glock in the mix with the Glock 19X. 9mm? I mean, no, there's no external safety in here, but I've been able to drop a Glock every now and again when tussling with some guys on the street, banging off some shit when I'm running around chasing them as well. And I have never heard of a Glock going off just because you jostled the shit out of it.
Yes, Mechanist. Yes, it was. That's what Riggs carried in Lethal Weapon. He carried the 92F Beretta through all 4 movies. The 4th movie, he added a laser sight built into the grip. He added he swapped out his grips so with one that had a laser sight. But yes, he had a Beretta 92F through all 4 movies.
Never heard of a Glock going off just because you jostled the shit out of it. I mean, it's probably the most widely used handgun in law enforcement, and I can't think of a story where one's accidentally gone off before. But did the Army go with its old fantastic standard with a new updated sleek kind of body and that mount? No, it didn't.
No.
Did it go with probably the most modularization or modularized or whatever thing the Army says that it likes so much as the modularization, whatever. The Lego block of all pistols? So customizable. No, it didn't. It went with Sig. Because they were more modular than this? All right. So here we are, January 2017, and Sig has won the bid to create the next pistol that's going to be pushed across all the departments.
Jesus fuck! A contract worth $580 million. Holy shit!
Say, when was the last time the US military has a gun as unsafe as the Sig? The only one I can think of was when it adopted the Colt 1855 revolver carbine, and that gun had constant cook-off incidents that occasionally blew soldiers' hands off.
Very possible. I'm not sure about that one, about that pistol. Fuck! Throne fixed price contract. So, okay, so what this means is that they were given 580 million blankets, so they wouldn't be selling them. They wouldn't be getting any additional monies for providing the military with the firearms. They were getting, it's still a ton of money. But yeah, well, it's Kevin. It's a question of was it the cheapest contract because they asked the least in 580 fucking million, or was Glock saying okay, we'll give you a contract and we'll do a per unit price at a discounted rate? I mean, who knows? This is government contract, so that's buried in fucking quagmire, and we have no idea what the contracts would look like.
Department of Defense. And of course, once something gets picked up by our federal government in such a mass amount and quantity, well, there are going to be other people that are going to want that same firearm. And that's exactly what happened. Police agencies and other federal law enforcement agencies said, well, if this pistol's been tested so rigorously
were they voracious?
It would win the Department of Defense's contract, well, it certainly must be good enough for us. So not only do you have the Department of Defense, now you've got tons of federal agencies and other law enforcement agencies picking up these pistols, handling them, using them, and running around on duty, and it's getting its wear and tear on exponentially more than any sort of government testing facility could do. And almost immediately, rumors start spreading. Firearms forums, Reddit threads. A low rumbling is starting to grow over the concerns of the Sig P320 and how if you drop it, it will fire. And what happens with rumors that start on the internet? Well, they grow and eventually they become science experiments for YouTubers. Now every Tom, Dick, and Harry...
Wait. Was that Brandon? Hold up. Was that Brandon we just saw? Yes, it was. Hang on. It's Brandon. Dressed in dressed in a throw blanket.
Now every Tom, Dick, and Harry that's got a gun YouTube channel is grabbing a bunch of 9mm blanks, putting them into the Sig P320 and dropping it to see if it does actually fire when it's dropped. And my oh my, were the results astounding.
We found in our testing that the P320 will fire if it is dropped at a certain angle. This angle is not found in any of the previously mentioned drop tests.
Drop test and 40 caliber. It's got a prime case and then a dummy round on top with a full magazine underneath. Son of a bitch.
Ow.
So
immediate.
I guess it's really not drop safe, huh? That's not just a bunch of
one round. That was the very first time we'd ever done it, and it went bang.
We went out and we bought a brand new, never fired, fresh from the box, P320. All right, ready?
Oof.
Now when you start getting viral videos amassing tens of
boy.
millions of views about how...
And yeah, there is someone that put out a video very recently, it's within the last day or two. It's like 40 minutes long though. That's why I didn't bring it up. Where he goes over in great detail why the Sig P320 is shit, why it was put together shit, and why it's having all these problems. And I think when you guys mention it in the chat, it's a problem I think in the slide is what you guys mentioned. Part of it is at the end of the video. Okay, thank you, Revan. Thank you. Because here's the fundamental flaw directly linked to the FCU, which means all P320 production FCUs will be liable for class action. Yeah, Gramps. Oh, I can see a lot of that happening. We are at the beginning of Sig's find out art when it comes to the construction of the P320. Sig play fuck around when they put this thing together. We're into the beginning of the find out arc.
Oh, your product is kind of going off whenever it's dropped. Well, you want to make a response. And Sig's response was the VUP, the voluntary upgrade program. No, it didn't say that, hey, if you drop our pistols, they'll go off and we're looking into it and we'll make sure we fix it. No. They say this is a voluntary upgrade program where you can turn in your pistol or receive the parts to upgrade and, I won't say replace, but replace your trigger, the sear, and striker assembly, which all improve, and I quote, the drop safety and prevent unintentional firing.
Yeah. Something tells me that the voluntary part on this is not going to hold up in courts. Yeah. And by the way, correct me if I'm wrong. This upgrade, I don't think fixed the problem. Yeah, Terrarian, I'm with you. I'm pretty sure that this upgrade didn't even fix the problem.
Huh. It's almost like they had a problem with that. Now, you would hope that the VUP, the voluntary upgrade program, would have solved all of Sig's problems. Hey, here's a free upgrade to your pistol.
Sure.
Come on and get it. We're making things better for you. We're upping the base model for free for you, because you're such a good guy. But even after all that, it somehow got worse for Sig. But how?
Yep.
How could that possibly happen? Well, more and more people were reporting that it was starting to go off on its own. Not even dropping it, just firing. That's right, a pistol sitting there in a holster on a desk.
Menacingly. Sorry, I had to throw that part in there. After all of that, I could not let it go without a menacingly. And Noon Spartan, thank you for the follow.
No finger or anything anywhere near the trigger. And it's suddenly going off? That sounds impossible, some might say. And I'm sure Sig thought that. There's no possible way that any of this is actually real. Except one little thing happened.
Oh my god. Natleem? I am kicking myself right now for not thinking of that meme. I don't know if that meme has made its way around the internet yet, but goddammit, it needs to be. That needs to start making its rounds. Guns don't kill people, People kill people. Sig, hold my beer. Man, jump on that. If that's not making the rounds on the internet right now, jump on that, make a meme, and throw it online, and it'll go like hotcakes. Have you, Spectral? Okay. I tried, Matt. I tried.
You remember earlier when I said that once the Department of Defense got those firearms,
Is it Steve? Okay.
a lot of law enforcement agencies thought, hey, it's been tested by the government already, vigorously. Why don't we take it on as our department duty weapon? Well, a lot of police...
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
In Brandon's video had something similar, a X post that said guns don't kill people, people kill people, except the P320.
Doesn't have as much punch. It doesn't have as much punch as guns don't kill people, people kill people. Sig, hold my beer. I'd say it just doesn't have the same. It doesn't have enough oomph to it.
Police officers wear body cams, don't they? And if you're a police officer in a department that wears body cams, and a department that has taken on the Sig P320 as their duty pistol, well then you've got the perfect storm of accountability in the form of video and audio recording, and the potential of a firearm that may potentially kind of go off by itself. Now evidence is no longer a problem because police body cameras...
Oh, and by the way, I do want to point this out. The biggest disappointment with the P320 having these issues is it's actually a good-looking pistol. Like the visual design of the pistol is quite nice. I do like the look of this. And it's such a shame that the inner mechanical workings of it were done so shittily that it's basically unusable. Because it is a very nice looking gun.
Now evidence is no longer a problem because police body cameras begin to record the Sig P320's random discharges of rounds while in a holster, while just sitting there doing absolutely nothing and then going off. And because it's a police department, they're notated. Uh-oh. Now we got video, audio, and we actually have a paper trail of these things happening with internal documents from law enforcement agencies about the pistol going off during training events when they're on the range, or in a courthouse, or even when they're effecting an arrest inside of a police.
Okay, hang on. There's so much happening here. Let's start from left to right. We're going to have to watch this a couple times. I'm going to start here with this guy on the left.
Law enforcement agencies about the pistol going off during training events when they're on the range, or in a courthouse, or even when they're effecting...
Holstering it, it goes off.
In training events when they're on the range, or in a courthouse,
Holstering
or
it,
even when they're effecting
going
an arrest inside of a police station.
This guy isn't even holstering it. He's just holding it. Hang on. I will shift slightly for this. This officer on the right side here is literally just holding it and it goes off.
In a courthouse, or even when they're effecting an arrest inside of a police station. Now the evidence is undeniable to Sig. So undeniable that all these agencies dropped the... figured
Wait.
That all these...
DHS, Criminal Justice Training Commission, Vancouver PD, so it's reached up into Canada, Oregon Police, and it's this Air Force. Oh, the Air Force Strike Command. Yeah, the fact that this has reached up into fucking Canada, this problem. Holy shit.
Agencies dropped the... figuratively and literally, the Sig P320 from being their duty weapons. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE, the Washington State Criminal Justice Training Commission, the Vancouver Police Department in Canada, Oregon State Training Agencies, the U.S. Air Force Global Strike Command, only recently after one of its troops died because the Sig P320 went off. But Sig made it worse. How did they make it worse? Well, they blamed the consumer.
I'm sorry, fucking what?
On March 7th, 2025, Sig was tired of it all. Sig decided that they were going to put out a post on Twitter and Instagram, all over the social medias, and say, enough is enough. It ends now, if I'm not mistaken. Which, hindsight being 2020, sure doesn't look too good right now. So let's read through it together, shall we? Sig Saur. The P320 cannot, under any circumstances, discharge without a trigger pull. This is a fact.
The lie detector test and the numerous camera footage pieces of evidence determined that was a fucking lie. How fucking brain dead are you when there's literal videographic evidence, a mountain of it out there, before this came out, showing that it literally will discharge without a trigger pull. And you're going to come out and say this? It has to be done.
You are made of stupid. So that was a fucking lie.
Yeah. Yes.
A fact. Ooh. Is it? The allegations against the P320 are nothing more than individuals seeking to profit or avoid personal responsibility.
This is coming from governmental law enforcement agencies that are completely dropping your firearm. This is not individuals. This is state and federal agencies that are going, your gun is shit. We are not going to use it anymore. How the... This is kindergarten social media basics 101. This is literally an Instagram influencer backtalk. This is what Instagram influencers say when they get called out on shit or when they get busted on things. They say it's nothing more than individuals seeking to profit or avoid personal responsibility. This is fucking TikTok bullshit right now. I'm gonna hazard... Yeah, I'm guessing the PR guy that came up with this probably doesn't have a job anymore.
The P320 are nothing more than individuals seeking to profit or avoid personal responsibility. Couldn't happen to be just people that got shot.
I don't think this detective who shattered her fucking femur was anti-gun. She might be anti-Sig now. In February 2018, her holstered original version of the P320 discharged without a trigger pull as she jostled the holster to remove it from her belt. X-rays showed that her femur had been severed in half with shards of bone fragments and substantial shrapnel left in her right leg, as seen.
Jesus! Fuck! Holy shit! That's... It severed her femur in half. That alone is insane. That it could sever the femur, which, by the way, chat, is one of the hardest bones in the human body. The femur is one of the hardest bones in your body to break. If you break your femur, you done a really good job of fucking yourself up, because it is really fucking hard to break your femur.
Here, what an anti-gun grifter.
Oh, and sorry, and I was gonna point out, note how long ago this is. This has been happening for 7 years. This was back in 2018. This has been going on for. Just gonna point that out. 7 years.
fragments and substantial shrapnel left in her right leg, as seen here. What an anti-gun grifter.
Recently, anti-gun groups, members of the mainstream media, trial attorneys, and other uninformed and agenda-driven parties have launched attacks on one of Sig Saur's most trusted, most tested, and most popular product, the P320 pistol. In all cases, these individuals have an ulterior motive behind their baseless allegations that the P320 can fire without a trigger pull. They have no evidence, no data, and no empirical testing to support any of their claims. They instead chose to misrepresent clear, negligent discharges as a, quote, design problem.
Congratulations, Sig. Not only are you opening yourself up to multiple lawsuits by these agencies for you selling them a faulty firearm, you just open yourself up to some glorious fucking slander suits by all the people that you just claimed that they have no evidence, no data, no empirical testing. They instead chose to misrepresent clear, negligent. Basically, you slander them saying that they had negligent discharges, when there's video evidence to support the exact opposite. You just opened yourself up to additional slander suits. Brother.
Present clear, negligent discharges as a, quote, design problem. Which, by the way, you did come up with a design solution and called it the VUP. Sig went on to say, in the decades since its introduction, the P320 has undergone the most rigorous testing and evaluation of any firearm by military and law enforcement agencies around the world. It consistently delivers a proven record of performance and reliability through state-of-the-art engineering and documented quality control at every stage of its production. Rigorous testing, yes. You know, you can go through rigorous testing and it can still be like, I can go through rigorous testing and take the bar exam and I can still fail it. So really, rigorous testing doesn't mean shit unless you learn from that rigorous testing. Like, I don't know, tens of thousands of firearms going out into the public and them using it and then finding out that it accidentally detonates all by itself. That would be rigorous, would it not? And speaking of rigorous, did you ever just drop it? Did you ever just drop it?
To be fair to the other branches of SIG, the P320 is a SIG US gun. The German and Swiss branches are good to go.
That is a fair point, Nat. That absolutely should be. This is SIG US, not SIG Germany or SIG Switzerland. That is an absolute fair point.
Did you ever just fucking drop it? Huh. Clear negligent discharges. Is this a negligent discharge? Discharges where nobody's touching the firearm, nobody's fingers in the trigger, and it just goes off? Discharges when people are putting it in the holster, finger not in the trigger whatsoever, and when it locks in, it goes off? Or when they're just standing there and it just goes off? That's their fault. That's their fault? Claims that unintended discharges are anything more than negligent handing and or manufactured lies to support an anti-gun, anti-SIG agenda are false. Furthermore, lawsuits claiming that the P320 is capable
anti-gun, anti-SIG agenda. They're literally claiming that police officers and the military are anti-gun. Police officers and military that carry a gun daily as a part of their job are anti-gun. This is so fucking stupid, it defies description. Seriously. This is just too fucking stupid. It defies description.
Of firing without the trigger being pulled have been dismissed in courtrooms around the country. In addition, multiple plaintiffs, so-called experts, have conceded it is not possible for the P320 to discharge unless the trigger is fully actuated. Huh, is it? The rhetoric is high and we can no longer stay silent while lawsuits run their course and clickbait, farming engagement, hacking grifters continue their campaign to hijack the truth for profit. Enough is enough. From the courts of law to the court of public opinion, we will combat the lies and misinformation with the truth. Sig Saur stands behind the quality, safety, and design of all of our products, especially the P320. And then they say that, you know, the industry should be scared and aware that people are going after SIG for no reason, because they could be next. They could be next on the chopping block.
Oh, nice try at fear-mongering, fucksticks. Yeah, we made a dog shit gun that is discharging all on its own and has taken the life of an airman, although I think the statement came out before the airman's death. And you're going to try and fearmonger and say, other gun manufacturers should take note of this. They could be coming for you next. Go fuck yourself, Sig. If you still exist as a gun manufacturing company in the United States by the time this is all over, I will be mildly surprised. I am going to say...
Get some help.
Yes. I am going to say that I fully expect, before this is all over, the president of SIG US will be stepping down. We are going to hear, we are going to get an announcement that the president of SIG US is resigning. Mark my words, it will be happening. Before this is all over, he is going to step down and he is going to resign.
But all of that context now brings us here today. Because the headquarters of the Air Force Global Strike Command put out a memo just the other day after one of their airmen was killed when he put his firearm on his desk and it discharged.
Probably Atanashi,
all
yes.
by itself. What a, how strange. I thought Sig said a P320 couldn't do that. Immediate action required, effective immediately. All personnel in AFGSC will pause use of the M18 MHS for all operational and training activities until further notice. This pause will remain in place until completion of ongoing AFOSI.
Shadows? Generally speaking, if you're talking about on the consumer market, I'm pretty sure the Glock is more affordable than the SIG. However, this is government contract. So this is more bulk orders, and so it doesn't work the same in terms of which is more affordable. Each company put up each company did a bid for the contract as a bulk order, so it's not quite the same. But if you're talking about as an individual civilian, the SIG is a more affordable option than the Glock by far.
And safety investigations into a recent incident at F.E. Warren Air Force Base. Wing commanders and DFCs will arm personnel with the M4 rifle in place of the M18. By the way, the M18 is the military nomenclature, the number that it's assigned to as a property item that the military uses for the Sig P320. So when you hear M18 or M17, that's just the normal version.
Hunter, like J10 was saying, SIG actually dropped their price for the contract, whereas Glock refused to, and that's why they gave the contract to SIG. So whether or not it's more expensive for the government than it is for the average consumer, that could be debatable. You would need to do the math of the contract, which was 542 million, 582 million, and and change, and then divide that amongst how many units they actually provided to the military. 580. So divide that by how many units they issued to the military, and see what their price per unit is versus what the same firearm would be on the consumer market. So whether or not it's more expensive for the government than it is the average consumer could be debatable unless you've done the math. I have not done the math, so I cannot say whether or not it is more expensive for the government than the average consumer or not.
So when you hear M18 or M17, that's just the normal version and the short barrel version of the Sig P320 made for the military. And at this moment, there is an Army unit that is doing the same. I just don't have confirmation of the Army unit that's doing that. So here we are, with all this history of the Sig P320 going off, them trying to make changes with the VUP, them going after...
No, Shadows. In the civilian market, SIG makes a more expensive weapon compared to the Glock. The Glock is cheaper than the SIG in the civilian market. And it is more, it's not only more affordable, but it is more reliable and durable than the SIG, generally speaking.
After everybody in their freaking comment section of social media saying it's not our fault, nothing's happened, and then an avalanche of video evidence coming in showing SIG that there is an issue with it going off, culminates in, unfortunately, the death of an airman, and now the Air Force and the DOD taking note. I mean, all these other law enforcement agencies, including ICE, already took note and said, we're not dealing with this. We'll go to something else. But now even the Air Force is saying, what the is going on? Even Sig had a response to the airman who unfortunately lost his life. Ours with the service members and families impacted by the recent reporting event at the F.E. Warren Air Force Base. We proactively offered assistance to the U.S. military as they investigate the incident and remain willing to help in furtherance of their ongoing inquiry. We have absolute confidence in the military's ability to conduct a thorough investigation and are working with the Air Force and Army to answer any of their questions. I guess my question...
Leo, what? This is a reasonable PR response. This is a perfectly reasonable, typical PR response. You know, hearts are with the service members and families impacted by it. They could have been more specific, but they didn't. They just said with the people impacted by it. Proactively offered assistance to the military as they investigate. They said they have confidence in the military's ability to conduct any investigation, and that they're willing to cooperate them with anything. From a PR standpoint, this is the first SIG PR thing that is decent. Yes, it's a pure corporal response. Yes, it is, but it's a decent one where they're saying, they didn't say something like, we know that our firearm could not have possibly done this. We have confidence that the military's investigation will show that our weapon was not at fault for this. They did not say that. So from a rational PR standpoint, yes, it's fucking corporal speak. I fully appreciate that. They didn't blame anybody. They said they're willing to assist with the investigation. They're willing to provide any information to assist the investigation whenever possible. It's a perfectly decent PR, statement.
Working with the Air Force and Army to answer any of their questions. I guess my question, if I was the Secretary of Defense, after knowing about all these discharges caused and only caused by your weapon and its manufacturing, why didn't you remove those issues and fix them immediately, even as they continued to occur? And then why wouldn't you notify the Department of Defense or other law enforcement officials that there was some sort of deficiency in your firearm, but you were working quickly in order to modify your weapon and solve that issue? Well,
I can tell you why. Because they would be doing exactly what they were accusing all of the other people of doing when they were slamming on people and saying, this is just people trying to cover up their own mistakes and blaming us. Because if they turned around and said, oh yeah, there's a problem with our gun, we have to fix it, they would be backpedaling and eating shit so fast that they'd be worried that the contract would get dropped. Because they just finished accusing people of trying to cover up their mistakes by blaming Sig. Sig basically did the exact same fucking thing. And correct here, they would be admitting culpability, and they would be afraid that the military would go, yeah, maybe we're going to drop this contract because your guns are unsafe, even though you've acknowledged it and you're going to fix the problem. It's the typical, well, Tanashi, if they jumped on it immediately and said, okay, we're going to do a nationwide recall and correct this, then they could have avoided the lawsuits entirely, or the lion's share of them initially. But now maybe they were at the point where if they admitted fault, they already had lawsuits pending and it would have killed their lawsuits, in which case it's the typical corporal thing, deny, 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 deny. If they were like ankle deep in lawsuits by this point, where this became an option of doing a full-blown recall, then yeah, it would basically be admitting fault if they did it. That's why they used the upgrade thing before. And all their they would have been sued into oblivion in their already existing court cases. Unfortunately for them, because they deny, Now even more civil litigation is being filed against Sig. And my guess is, and now there's a full-on fucking investigation, which begs the question, is there going to be criminal negligence charges inbound for Sig with this military investigation? Are we about to see something beyond civil proceedings start being lobbied towards Sig? That's a distinct possibility now, because if I'm not sure what the Air Force's investigative division is. I know CID is Army. I'm not sure what the Air Force's investigators are referred to as. But if the Air Force determines negligence in terms of the construction, that the weapon is faulty and this is a design flaw, and there's negligence involved, you don't think the military might look to seek charges? Maybe. I don't know, LaRuck. I don't know if Legal Mindset would cover this. This is kind of outside of his wheelhouse, so I don't expect him to cover it.
Well, it almost seems as though you've been intentionally negligent in sharing this information with everybody about your product that fires rounds off all by itself, Sig. Now, I don't know how Sig's gonna recover from this. Frankly, my opinion is that it should be pulled. And then we go with the freaking Glock. You want modular? There's modular. Like I said, it's a freaking Lego. Do you know how many third-party companies there are that make additional add-ons for this thing? And you decided that Sig was gonna be the most modular firearm ever? Come on, DOD. No, I know people that like Sig, and I know people that know the P320 is an issue, but like other firearms, like the P325 and other from Sig, I personally, and
hang on.
That know the P320 is an issue, but like other firearms, like the P325 and other from
Yeah. I have experience with this guy right here. P226. I've had extensive firing experience with the P226. Not my favorite. Little large for my hand size. But I never had any real issues with the P226 or its younger brother, the P229. They were both perfectly decent. I did still prefer the Glock over the P226 though. I preferred the Glock 23 over the P226. My firing and accuracy with the Glock 26 was far superior to the P229 or 226, excuse me.
Sig, I personally, and I'm sure many other people,
it's not the length, Graham, it's the width. The width is what gave me problem.
The company's entire...
Hang on, I have to say this. Gramps, it's not about the length, it was the girth. The girth of the 226 is where I was not comfortable. Okay, it was girthy in the grip.
Probably don't want to put their money on a product where the company's entire existence is to make it shoot only when you want it to shoot, and then when it doesn't, they deny, and then act like spoiled children, blaming us for their product that's broken. Well, Sig, I hope you're happy. We all knew eventually it was going to happen, that somebody was going to get shot and they weren't going to make it back from your shitty pistol design that decides that it's going to randomly fire when it wants to. Honestly, I don't think anybody gives a about how it feels in your hands if they're not sure when it's going to go off. These night sights are great, but I sure wish I knew when it would go off. Pow! Oh! That was fun. Mom! Updates. We have updates. Do you remember how I said that YouTubers will take items and things that they see?
Oh, there we go.
YouTube, Twitch, and Kick viewers, Ember is lewd, but not a lewd Ruber.
Thank you, Great Matter. No, I'm not. I can be lewd, which I know you guys love, but I am not a lewd tuber. I'm not.
and try to prove that something can or can't happen with them. Basically,
Yep,
a
here we
science
go.
experiment on the internet for all of us to see. Well, some beautiful bastard did it with the Sig P320. Wyoming Gun Project. Go to his channel after this. Go to the link down below. I'll have the whole video linked. Took his own Sig P320 that he bought and decided he would do some experimenting. Now, the Sig that he has in his hot little hands right there is the Sig P320 after the VUP, the Voluntary Update Program. The one that's supposed to fix the trigger and stop it from going off randomly. Oh, this beautiful bastard did it. And by taking a screw, and I forget what those calipers are called that measure millimeters and thousandths of an inch, slowly moves the trigger back less than a millimeter, less than half of a millimeter, and then starts playing around with the slide. Guess what happens? It goes off. Then he puts a blank round into the chamber, puts the magazine in, keeps that trigger pulled back just a hair of a half, and then manipulates the slide, and guess what happens? It goes off. Now, WGP, Wyoming Gun Project here, cracked the code. And frankly, he does a great job of saying it himself, but I'll try to break it down for you. Do you know how easy it is for a trigger to be pulled back a half of a millimeter? Do you then know how easy it is for a slide to be torqued left or right as if a police officer is running with it in their holster? Very easy. I'm surprised you can't just jump up and down and have the thing go off, which, by the way, I'm sure if somebody put it on some sort of tumbler or a dryer that's going a little heavy, like one your mom used to sit on in order to get her jollies off, I'm surprised it wouldn't go off then. And I'm sure that we'll get more videos of it doing just that, jostling around and then firing. But like Wyoming Gun Project said, just a small amount of dust or crud or crap gets stuck in the trigger and pulls it back just that half of a millimeter. And then the slide moves. Just shifted to the left or right a little, and pow. I hope that somebody connects with the poor mother and father of that airman that lost his life because the frickin' firearm went off when he put it down on his desk, which I know right now is very little public information other than he just set it down on his desk and it went off. But at this moment, nobody from the military or anybody that was there or any investigator are correcting what people are saying. Holy shit, that video is amazing. Please watch it. It's 40 minutes of absolute brilliance, and he breaks down exactly what he does in order to make it go off, which is easy, extremely simple for it to go off all on its own. Best way to support the channel is to get yourself a shirt. This old crack house. Finishing it up, getting the final episode of the OG crack house going. Just gotta hang up some artwork. POB. Guess who doesn't get a POB? Sig. Sig doesn't get a POB. No POB for them.
I know.
Cheapest way to support the channel is leave yourself a comment. Tell me what you think about this whole Sig thing. I'm very irritated because I don't like irresponsibility and people that lack integrity. And as always, there's more on Pepperbox. I'm going to say more words about this on Pepperbox. Words that start with the letter F and end in uck. See you next time, weirdos. Now, who is in the running? I probably shouldn't do that. I like Beethoven. Feel free to put that in somewhere. My wife is listening to...
Oh, it is. Oh, he is married. Okay.
Stranger Things, and the kid screaming is going right through the floor. Can you turn it down?
He has kids too? I didn't know that. I did not know that. Long tail there. He's got like 2 minutes of black screen tail. Chat. Before this segment concludes, I have one joke for you. I don't know if anybody's made this or not, but I'm going to make a joke. Chat, here is Sig's new slogan.
I want to play a game.